Yeah, I just wanted to make a video about the source of the problem. Like, I mean, there's several like root causes I've talked about, but I mean, for all I know, there might be some genetic root cause, because the problem is affecting me. It doesn't affect everybody, but like maybe I'm predisposed to have a problem like this. But as far as I can find, the most root cause that I have is that um, it was digestive issues and well, not the. I guess it's yeast and gluten and other lectins, like gluten slash other lectins, lead to problems in my large intestine, and they also lead to yeast infections and candida infections. Now, I'm not 100% sure, like, if I have candida overgrowth or yeast overgrowth or a mixture of both. But I know when I eat like gluten and other lectins can damage your large intestine, make it more permeable. I think this is my understanding of leaky gut, and maybe I'm wrong but I know that it can make leaky gut worse. I don't know exactly how it happens, but so I eat lectins and including gluten, and I eat yeast, and then like for example, if I eat yeast, I had some yesterday accidentally. I was chicken nuggets, tapioca starch for the breading, and so they're gluten free, lectin free. I mean, tapioca has some lectins, but it's pretty minimal. I think when they're cooked, I could be wrong about that too. But um, anyways, it, I woke up and my right finger, oddly enough, and Dr. Gundry was talking about this. He sees a lot of patients with leaky gut who have one finger that hurts, and I don't know why that is, but my finger, my right index finger, is the finger I click with the mouse, and working at a computer for years, that's a lot of repetitive motion. So maybe that's why a lot of people have one finger that has issues from computer use. What that would mean would be that joint in your hand would be weaker than all the others, so that when you have general joint problems in your body, um, that one would be the one to hurt in your hand anyway. Like I have other joint pains too, but in my hand, that's the only joint that hurts. And so that started hurting. And it was pretty bad. And I was like, God damn it! Like I thought I went and I checked the ingredients because the only processed food I ate yesterday, like the rest were just straight up ingredients, like just regular blueberries, carrots, whatever, just single ingredient foods. I know what they are. But the only processed food I ate was those chicken nuggets, which I thought were fine. But I look at the ingredients, and sure enough, the bottom ingredient is yeast extract. So I was like, God damn it! Like, because my knees hurt, my ankles hurt, like my whole back hurts. My left elbow was killing me. Like, it was just so. Like when I eat yeast, I don't know if it's because of some damage through my large intestine, like a leaky gut syndrome or what, that's like allowing, or if it's just simply having an overgrowth in your stomach, it automatically gets passed on. But Dr. Gundry pretty much said if that's happening, and it also coincides with bowel movements that I was having that were not good, like either too difficult or just not coming out right or whatever. I know it's gross, but like we're talking about a life or death situation here. And so, uh, the yeast gets in my large intestine and goes into my bloodstream and gets passed around my body, and it goes into my joints. And I know lectins specifically can bond with connective tissue. I didn't really eat any lectins yesterday. I just had the yeast, but it's also and when I say bond with, I mean lectin bonds with connective tissue. Autoimmune response happens. Says, hey, that cell's compromised. We got to get rid of it. Removes the cell. But that was your tendon cell or something. And it does that a million times or whatever. So you lost a million cells in your tendon or whatever, and then ligaments and various other tendons throughout the body, and that's lectins. But this is yeast. I know that yeast infections. One of the symptoms is you can have major problems with your joints. So like if you have it like just once and you're a normal healthy person and your joints hurt, it's probably not that big a deal. But I started having problems back in like 2015 when my joints were hurting and I'd have some muscle aches and I didn't quite understand why. I kind of shrugged it off because I was like, well, I've been playing soccer, basketball all these years. My knees are bothering me more. My ankles are bothering me more. It was probably that. It's probably just my diet. And because it's a certain kind of burning pain that is matches up with what I feel now, and I was feeling it back then. And so I just was like, whatever. And that's common too for a lot of people. They'll say, I don't have a gluten sensitivity. I'm fine eating gluten. I'm fine eating foods with lectins. I'm fine eating yeast. And then, because I don't have any problems with it, and then they stop and they're like, wow, my joints feel so much better. And because you just get used to it. You get used to a slight muscle ache. You get used to a slight joint pain, and a little pain in your back, and you think, oh, maybe it's just me sitting or whatever, and you just kind of live with it. You're like, that's just normal, and you don't even realize that like you're doing damage over time to your connective tissue throughout your body, and that's really bad. And I was wondering like how like am I like a super rare case? I think uh, now generally 12% of the population. It's probably more, but at least 12% of the population, according to a variety of studies, including like Dr. Gundry, I believe, who's like heavily researched. And he's very clinical. He's not into any bullshit. Like he's just like straight up. Like if something doesn't work and he's wrong, he'll just say, "Okay, I'm wrong." Like, he doesn't care. He just wants to know what works and what doesn't work. Like he had a patient prove him wrong about like some dietary thing that would help his heart, and he's like, okay. Like he wasn't mad about it. He didn't like let his ego get in the way like most doctors do. He doesn't care. So he's really good for being able to trust what he says. Except for the wine thing, he's like, oh, wine's good. It's got polyphenols in it, like red wine, and other bitter foods are good. But it's like it also has alcohol. So I imagine he's just like, look, I mean, we're all gonna die someday. I'm gonna drink alcohol. It's gonna be wine at least, because wine's gonna be like wine is healthy, does have polyphenols in it, but it also has alcohol, which is bad. So it is both healthy and unhealthy, but it doesn't necessarily cancel out. It's just the health problems it has are different than the health benefits it has. So like it could hurt your kidneys, stuff that alcohol hurts, but the polyphenols are gonna help your brain health, which is good. Anyway. So he's good, and he's saying about, or I was reading all this and comparing notes with what he was saying, and I think it's at least 12% of people around have leaky gut. So you're more prone to, like, if you eat gluten and other lectins, and if you eat yeast, you're going to have problems. You're going to have some muscle aches. You're going to have joint pains, and a lot of people, I think, just chalk it up to like, hey, whatever. It's just getting older, or bad luck, or genetics, or whatever, and it's just that. So anyway, so it's definitely for me, the yeast is killer. Like my whole body, like it was hard for me to find a joint in my body that didn't hurt this morning, just from eating some like one meal with some chicken nuggets that had yeast extract in it, and I checked my tongue this morning, and my tongue was whiter than normal too. So it's like it's been growing back, and I got some uh, Spanish black radish supplements. You can get them on Amazon. There are several. They're all good. There's only, I think I take. God, I can't get up. But well, the first result you see on Amazon is is probably what I take. There's only there's like two different kinds, and I've taken them both, and both good for getting rid of fungal overgrowth, whether that's yeast, whether that's candida from lectins like gluten, can cause candida overgrowth. Then it'll kill that off. It's not as strong as like a prescription drug like fluconazole, but it's also something like you could take a couple every day. It will kill it off over time, similar to like but I've taken like caprylic acid, which is like coconut oil has it in abundance. Coconut oil also helps, but I found the black Spanish black radish supplements because, and I think I take the supplements, and I don't know if eating the radishes themselves helps just as well because the compound that helps, it's like some combination of letters and numbers, is found in the seeds. So I don't know if like you need to eat like a lot of seeds, or like if one radish is equivalent to one vitamin or multiple vitamin, or not, I mean one supplement or like one pill, or do you have to eat a lot of radishes? I don't know, but I take a couple of the pills and throughout the day, and my tongue cleared up. And then of course I ate more yeast yesterday, so that's you can't really see it on camera. Eh, like it looks like a normal tongue. I don't know why, it's like the lighting, but like when I look at it in a mirror, it's very obvious. But when I look at it on camera, I can't see it at all. So I don't know. It might. I guess it's just what the camera does with the lighting. But like my tongue is both yellow and white, and but it's not as bad as it was. But then it got worse this morning because like last week I accidentally ate some like what was it, quinoa grains that have a lot of lectins in it, and I thought it would be safe to eat, but then and I also had some yeast last week because they was in the banana chips, and I was like, why would banana chips have yeast? I didn't check the label. They're banana chips. I thought they would just be baked, might have a little salt or sugar or something. That's it. They have yeast. Like why? Like for flavor? Like I've had banana chips, they're fine. They don't need extra flavor. Like, but they put yeast in them. It's like Jesus Christ. So when my tongue got bad, and then I started taking the Spanish black radish, and then it started clearing up, and then I had more yesterday, and it's like all my joints are killing me this today, and I'm like, and I so what I'm saying is I have systemic connective tissue damage throughout my entire body, like my whole spine, my knees, my ankles, my toes, like everything. And I think some minor damage will your body will repair over time. But if since I've been like I imagine now that all of the ligaments in my spine, my middle back, my lower back, probably need PRP injections. They don't feel they don't feel particularly vulnerable like my neck does, like the top of my neck. But like I think the combination of working at a desk and heavy lifting and never exercising my neck, like I was moving all the furniture and I strained my neck, um, like and my neck was weak. Like all ligaments provided were weaker, but like my ligaments in my neck were especially vulnerable because of the years of gluten and yeast exposure, and so they had been broken down, and so that's what happened to me to make me more like had I just been eating like fruits and vegetables and meat and like no gluten, no yeast, I don't think I'd be having this problem at all. I think all my joints would be fine. I think none of my lifestyle would have really affected my neck that much, and like lifting would have been fine. I would not be injured at all because all my ligaments would have been able to handle the abuse, and my tendons as well, and my knees would be better and all that stuff. So it's like that's pretty much the main thing here for me. So if you are like, I think nobody should be eating this stuff if this is a potential outcome. Obviously, it's easier said than done. Like people would are going to risk their lives and still eat bread and still drink beer and stuff like that because it's so good. Like you're just gonna throw caution to the wind. I know that, but if you are someone who's saying like, you know what, I am having problems with my knees or my neck or any joint in your body, I'd say just stay away. Like don't eat it. I mean, I would like to say don't eat lectins at all. I mean, there's foods with like like a carrot has lectins in it, but they're low, and you can eat all the carrots you want, you're gonna be fine. But like there's foods that are very concentrated in lectins you want to avoid, which you can Google. You can just Google like Dr. Gundry has lists of food he studied, or you can Google lectins, and to see like, does this have a lot of lectins in it? How much? And you can Google any food you want. You're going to get results pretty much. So you can figure out what's safety, what's not. And as for yeast, like, I mean, that's pretty much, what foods have yeast in it, either because it is, bread or like alcohol. Actually, I don't know if yeast is used in. I don't know what about alcohol, but um, that's easy to find too. But yeah, so for me, that's it. That's what's going on. That's the root of all my problems, I believe. Like I talk to CCI doctors, and people keep wanting to think like maybe I have EDS or something. I'm like, I don't have any hypermobility. Plus, in addition to that, like my whole life before this, I played sports and I was not easily injured. There was not like a joint in my body where like, oh no, I tripped and fell and like tore my ankle again. Oh, that doesn't happen to anybody else. No, like I was just as strong as anybody. Like, so I never had joint problems. I never was weak in my joints. They were never stretchy. They were never flexible. My skin was not stretchy. Like, I even got a genetic test for EDS and that came out negative. So I probably don't have EDS. And what no doctor ever asks is, are you eating yeast? Are you eating lectins? Are your joints hurting because, like, after you eat certain foods? Like, no doctor's asking that. None. There's nobody on Facebook in any group saying, like, hey, you're having joint problems? Like, what are you eating? Nobody's asking that either. They're just saying, like, oh, it's genetic. It's like, I'm proof that lectins and yeast can fuck you up really fucking bad, and you shouldn't eat them ever. You just shouldn't. And if you're gonna do it, I get it, but you should at least know the risks. Your life could be over, and you could be in suffering a fate worse than death. So don't do that if you can avoid it. I mean, there's plenty of other amazing, delicious foods. You can have breads that are grain-free and taste amazing. You can have pizza that's grain-free and tastes amazing. You can have lots of alcohol that's, doesn't have, I think, like mead, that's honey. Fermented honey tastes fucking amazing. Of course, there's lots of other types of alcohol that don't use grains might be lower on. I don't know. I haven't really researched alcohol, but I'm just saying you can lower your risk of this stuff, because even if it's not crippling you like it is for me, like, do you want to have joint problems, several decades before you should be having them? I would rather probably not. And leaky gut is also like when you eat lectins, and I suppose yeast might also contribute because it is a mold. You're going to, like, if you have mold overgrowth in your stomach, in your intestine, you're going to damage your large intestine. You're going to have leaky gut, and when you have that, you're very much more susceptible to autoimmune conditions, and you could get a different autoimmune condition like mine. I don't know if mine's really considered an autoimmune condition, because it's like, yes, my immune system is attacking the connective tissue to remove the yeast or whatever's in there, but it's not like a runaway condition. Like, when I stop eating the food, like, it's done. It's not, my immune system's not going to keep attacking my connective tissue just period. It's just when I eat those foods and those molecules bond with my cells, and then they become compromised cells, and then they have to go. So I don't know if that's would be considered, but it's an immune response is why I have the problem I have. But you can develop a lot of autoimmune conditions from leaky gut, and it's not just me saying, it's like a lot of doctors who deal with immune conditions are saying people who have problems with their intestines, problems with digestion, problems with going to the bathroom, like if you look at your stool and you're like, this is not good, like, these are the people that are high risk of developing autoimmune conditions, and autoimmune conditions really fucking suck. You don't want them. You really, really don't. It can make your life a living hell. I mean, it can be really, really bad. And this is just from what you're eating. So, I mean, stress can also increase your risk of developing leaky gut, damage to your intestines. So, like, there are people out there who they eat food like that has gluten and other lectins and stuff, and they're fine. And then something really stressful happens in their life, and then they develop the stomach problem and the autoimmune condition, like the same day. And it's very obvious. So it's like the stress can definitely exacerbate the thing too. That's why not everyone like some people are handling eating gluten and other people are not. And you have a stressful event while you're eating a bunch. You have a fungal overgrowth, and then you know that lowers the tipping point. Or maybe the tipping point's way up here. You have to eat. Your fungal overgrowth has to get to this level. You get stressed now. It only has to get to this level. I don't know, but it seems like that's the case. And yeah, you need to avoid these foods, because even if you're like, well, it's only a 10% chance in my life or 20% chance, like you don't want to take that chance, especially when there's a myriad of incredibly delicious and fulfilling foods that you can eat that won't cripple you and destroy your life. So or even if it's not completely cripple you, just lower your quality of life. Oh, now you've got back pain, now you've got a mild autoimmune condition that pesters you for the rest of your life. Now you don't have to deal with that at all. You just feel great. So it's like this is really important. I don't want to see other people making the same mistake as me. And maybe this helps somebody identify the problem, like why are their joints hurting? Why is their connective tissue weak? Because I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people out there that have craniocervical instability, don't know why they got it, and it's because of the foods they ate that weakened their cervical ligaments. So I just wanted to put this out there.